Hey, public service announcement. I got two important security things that are going on that I came across over the weekend. One is ZCOIN. So the coins that use the ZCOIN protocol, there's a security issue in their main code. You want to check it out, hit up their Twitter and go down through there, because there are some solutions that they have, but it is something that could affect some of these other coins if they don't address it properly. The other one I think is probably a pretty big deal, because I think it may affect more people than what the ZCOIN security issue is. And I think the ZCOIN issue had more to do with the creation of the coins. I could be wrong. But it was an issue. The Ethereum one, though, is something that has to be addressed and fixed like soon, and it may actually be something that affects more than just Ethereum. So there's a security firm that was digging into how private keys were created with Ethereum, because one of their corporate entities wanted to use Ethereum internally. So they, as a security company, you want to figure out how it works. How does Ethereum create these private keys? What's the process? So on and so forth. Well, in the process of doing that, they found out that the random number generator that's used to help create these private keys isn't the best. So it's not necessarily the code itself of Ethereum, it's the encryption method that's being used there. And I'm sure more is going to come out about this, but what they found is there's a hacker out there that's been doing this for a couple years. Basically looked into the encryption methods that are being used to create these keys, and are able to get the private keys of people's Ethereum wallets. Now, how many people are affected? Well, the way it works is there's an elliptic curve on how encryption works to create your private keys, and when they dove down into it, they found out that there was a certain part that wasn't as complicated. Not saying that this hacker's guessing, because to guess a private key, it just seems literally impossible. But to use a piece of software that can go through and find these things. So maybe they call it an empty string. So it would just be two quotes with no space in there, or just the space in there, or the number 1. So some of these private keys that are being generated are simple private keys. And apparently what this hacker did is they set up a node and were able to, scrape these, basically any of these easy wallets, these affected wallets. They're able to scrape that Ethereum out of there within seconds. So anybody who's using these wallets with the private keys that were compromised, then you have an issue. So the people that are not affected are the people that are probably using hardware wallets. I would say if you're using a hardware wallet, then you are probably pretty fine, because you're using a stronger method of encryption with the hardware wallets. But if you're using something else, maybe like a brain wallet's something where you basically create the human readable seed phrase. Well, you just basically kind of make it your own password, and it generates the private key from that. So this is the part of cryptocurrency that tells me we are still very, very early on and young at this stage of the game, and things can be compromised. I would think if Bitcoin had this issue that it would have already been exposed, just because Bitcoin is king. There are things with Ethereum that probably need to be improved. I do know yes, they were the first to get after and do smart contracts in a way that they do it, and they probably have the most developers working at it, or people that have wrote smart contracts for it. Doesn't always necessarily mean they're the best, but they were the earliest, they were the first, and I'm sure things will be improved with many more developers working on it versus maybe a new, younger platform. Regardless, that's why you should always pay attention to these things. Keep an eye out on your Ethereum address. So I would suggest to keep yourself safe. Make sure you are using a wallet that is secure, preferably a hardware wallet. If you have Ethereum on maybe a MyEther wallet, that address, I would venture to say it's probably okay, but even at that, you're using a web wallet and so on and so forth. Just one of those things. I feel better knowing when my crypto's in my hands and my hardware wallet. So that's the safest way to protect yourself. I think even a paper wallet, but if you're going to create a paper wallet, make sure you use a computer that is not online, and you use a printer that is not connected to the internet, or connects to the internet, or even broadcasts a wireless signal. Even though it may not be connected to the internet, broadcasting wireless signal, someone can still come by, see that wireless signal, and hack into the memory of that printer and see what you printed. And your paper wallets have your private and your public keys on them. So just to keep that in mind. So nothing to really be freaking out about, but that's what I want to make sure you guys were aware of those things. So there are different coins out there that use the ZCOIN code. So definitely look into it. I'm sure it's being addressed and fixed, and I'm sure with this Ethereum issue with their encryption will be also addressed. But when, how long, I don't know. I'd like to know if Vitalik Buterin knows about it. Maybe he does. Anyway, it is Monday. Happy Monday to you all. If you guys haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And be sure to share this video. I don't care where you stick it. Stick it on the bathroom wall. But make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.